Hello, my name is Jasmine, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about masking, or rather, why I personally am no longer going to mask, and I don't think that you should either, because you're like so beautiful, amazing, smart, talented, and just perfect. And anyone who tries to tell you that you're not perfect and that you need to change yourself and act a different way because you're not perfect, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Me, on the other hand, I'm a person who's pretty much right, like 99.9% of the time, so you should listen to me, okay? Don't mask. I'm going to get into what exactly masking is, and I'm also going to be doing my makeup because I got somewhere to go today. And yeah, so if you want to listen to me rant, then keep watching. Oh, also, if you're someone like me who likes videos of people putting on makeup, then you should definitely watch this other video that I have where I'm putting on makeup. Okay, so what is masking? It's basically to blend in with the neurotypicals or like normal society. It's used as a defense mechanism. In theory, it can protect you against things like bullying and discrimination and ableism. It's basically something that a lot of neurodivergent people are taught to do, whether implicitly or explicitly. In my case, it was both. I was taught to mask from a really young age, mostly by my mother. She did it pretty much explicitly. When I would do things, she would tell me, no, don't do that. Don't sit like this, don't do this action, don't speak in this way, because if you do, people are gonna think that you're, I'm not gonna say the word. So she would call out all of the weird, quirky, different things that I would do, and she would tell me not to do them. Now, I pretty much think from her perspective, she thought she was helping me. She probably thought that her telling me those things would keep me from things like being bullied, talked about, and ridiculed. But honestly, it didn't help very much. It definitely was effective. I will say that. It was effective in just the sense that, like, I always kind of have her voice in my head when I do certain things, and I pretty much can clock for the most part when I'm doing something that is seen as weird or inappropriate by normal societal rules. So I usually try to stop myself from doing those things. I usually try to like correct myself when I feel that happening. But I really don't want to do that anymore because it's very exhausting and people are still mean to me. Oh, surprise, people are gonna treat neurodivergent people awful. Yeah, we live in an ableist society, and unfortunately, if you're neurodivergent, unless you're like extremely good at masking, you're still gonna be bullied. Like, I'm so sorry. I was still bullied heavily throughout my life, even when I was masking. Even to this day, I still get talked about. I get told that I'm weird on a regular basis. I get told that I'm odd, different all the time. Like, maybe I'm just not that good at masking, or maybe it's just a waste of time. And we shouldn't be trying to conform to other people's standards because we're gonna be bullied, and unfortunately we're gonna be treated wrong and unfairly regardless of the actions that we try to take to try to get people to not do that to us. So that's one of the instances where I was like explicitly taught to mask. There's other like implicit instances where people would say things like, I don't know, you could just see like, you could just be aware of like people when they kind of groan when you come around, or they'll be like, oh, when you enter a conversation, or 1 minute they're like really talkative, and then as soon as you come over, all of a sudden they don't have anything else to say, and they just act like they weren't just in the middle of having it. I'm sorry, my microphone keeps falling. I really don't have like any way to prop my microphone up the right way, so I hope the audio in this doesn't sound too bad. I'm so sorry. People just like would cut me off when I would talk about my special interests, I guess, for too long. They would just completely like ignore me and leave me out of things, and it really sucked because like it was like they were telling me without telling me in words that something that I was doing was not acceptable, it was not liked, it was something that was off-putting. You could definitely see um, when people don't like you or when they do. Granted, sometimes it is a bit harder to tell, but for the most part, you can pretty much see when people kind of are put off by you. So I experienced that a lot in my life. And these were kind of like the explicit things that I was taught. I mean, the implicit things that I was taught, which kind of told me, like, oh, I started to see, oh, well, people are always making weird comments when I do this, when I move a certain way, when I say a certain thing. And I basically just learned to not do those things.
Guys, the rest of this video, I have like 30 more minutes of me talking in this video. I don't know what happened. For some reason, the audio just, it's not synced up to my mouth anymore for the rest of this video. I don't know why that happened, and I don't know how to fix it, so I'll figure something out. Whatever the next thing that pops up on the screen is my solution to this problem. But yeah, if you're wondering why it just randomly cuts off, or like if my face is not on the screen anymore, this is why. I'm so sorry. Okay, it's currently thundering outside, but I am determined to finish this video, okay? So, I'll just give like a rundown of what I was talking about in the original video. I spoke about 3 additional things, the first being mirroring people, and then I wanted to give 2 examples that I thought were fitting from characters in media, because we all know how I love to talk about characters because I'm obsessed with watching TV. So let's talk about mirroring. How it looks for me is basically when I'm interacting with people and I want to try to fit in and seem more normal, I will pay very close attention to the way that people are doing things. So like if they're holding their bodies a certain way, like if they're sitting with their legs crossed, then I'm going to make myself sit with my legs crossed. If I'm talking to someone and they're displaying a certain emotion, like they're frowning, then I'll frown. If I'm having a conversation with people and then all of a sudden they all start to laugh, whether I find the joke funny or not, I'm probably going to laugh because I want to seem as normal as possible in these instances. So that's what mirroring looks like for me. So an example, at least in my opinion, of mirroring slash masking in media can be found in the show Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur. Now I love this show. Okay, I really want to make a video on this show just because I adore it and I could talk about it for hours, but I'm going to be speaking about one specific episode, and I don't remember the episode title, but I'll put it up on the screen. So basically in this episode, the main character Lunella and her best friend Casey get invited to a sleepover. Lunella is freaking out because she's not good with social interactions. She doesn't really know how to interact properly. She doesn't have a lot of friends, and she's obsessed with science. So she's like, I'm going to hang out with all these people who like sports and stuff, but I like science, so how am I supposed to interact with them? How can I connect with them if, you know, like no one's gonna want to just sit around and hear me talk about science? So she's freaking out about this. She gets an idea to make a mind reading device. She's like, okay, I'm gonna read these people's minds, And when I read their minds, I'm gonna know exactly what they're thinking, so I can just talk about that. Now, this is an example, at least in my opinion, that can be interpreted as mirroring or masking. Lunella trying to go out of her way to literally know what these people are thinking so that she can conversate about these things is very, like, that resonates with me. I relate to that very heavily because I also do that. Like, I will sometimes research certain things. Like, for example, I try to keep up with at least as much as I can about things that are happening in like black pop culture because I want to be able to talk to people, the people around me who are into that kind of stuff. So I literally will research these kinds of things even if I'm not actually interested in them so that I can hold conversations with people. And I just thought that that was really like that reigned true to the neurodivergent experience when it comes to people and trying to mask. So another example of masking in this episode, at least in my opinion, is the mind reading device ends up failing and it instead switches someone's bodies. So she ends up switching her body with her pet dinosaur, Devil. So Devil's brain and her brain keep switching throughout the episode. And I think that this can be seen as an allegory for masking because um, when she has Devil's brain in her body, she acts completely different, and she fits in more with the crowd. The people that invited her to the sleepover seem to like her more when Devil's brain is in her body, and this upsets Lunella. She's like, "You guys don't like me when I'm being myself." Even though this turns out not to be the case, that's what she is thinking, and she says that explicitly. She's like, "You guys don't like me when I'm being myself. The way that I was acting earlier, that's not me." And she just gets really sad about it to the point where she ends up leaving the party. And this is something that I also find is true. When um, neurodivergent people start to unmask, they will be treated differently. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, people will not like us when we are being our true, authentic selves. They'll prefer the version of us that we are when we're that we are when we do mask. The version of us that's very calculated and put together, and the version of us that looks nice on paper. So, yeah, you and Girl Double Dinosaur, amazing show. You should definitely go watch it. This episode does have a happy ending because at the end, after Lunella gives her whole speech, they all of the people at the party are like, "Hey, we like you just how you are. That's why we invited you to this party. We don't want you to be something that you're not." So good for Lunella. Like, honestly, I love that for her. But yeah, I just thought that was a relevant example. The other example that I wanted to bring up was from the show Heartbreak High. There's a character in Heartbreak High called Quinny, and she is canonically autistic. Lunella is not canonically autistic, that's my own personal headcanon, but yeah, Quinny is canonically autistic, and she basically kind of has like a falling out with her friends during the second season, and she decides that she's going to unmask completely and she's not going to mask anymore because she feels like when she's masking, her friends don't appreciate her. They don't appreciate all of the effort that she puts in to try to be normal for them. And when she asks for the smallest of accommodations, like for example, she'll ask if they can walk in a certain type of line when they're walking together so that she doesn't get overwhelmed. Like, she'll ask for tiny things like that, or hey, before you plan out events, can you tell me in advance so I have time to prepare? When she would ask for the smallest of accommodations, her friends would make it seem like she was just being the most selfish, difficult person in the world. So she's like, well, forget this. I'm not gonna mask anymore. I'm just gonna be authentically myself. So she ends up unmasking, and this culminated in her being just really blunt about things, specifically like the things she wanted to do and things that she didn't want to do. If she didn't want to talk to people, she didn't talk. If she didn't want to go somewhere, she'd be like, "Yeah, I'm not going here. It's too loud. I'm gonna leave. I'm not interested in this conversation anymore. I'm gonna dip." Like, she was just basically just being very blunt and open and honest, and she was not trying to make anyone else comfortable. But at the end of this little arc, she kind of admits that she feels as if she doesn't really know who she is, because she's like, I've been masking for so long, and I tried to be the version of myself that I thought was authentic, but it doesn't feel authentic. I don't know who I am actually. And that was so amazing. Like, that resonated so much with me, because I have been trying to unmask like little by little for a while now. And it's crazy because I do feel like there is this like a lack of a sense of self. Like, you can really feel really lost, because after you try to be this specific like type of person for so long, and then you just automatically say, I'm gonna stop doing that, you feel really lost, because you're like, okay, well, who am I now? I'm obviously not who I was when I was a child. When I was a child, I had so many autistic traits that I don't some of them I still have, but a lot of them I don't necessarily have anymore. It's like, I don't really know how much of me is actually me and how much of me is the me that I was pretending to be, if that makes any sense. Um, and there are things that can come with unmasking that are not cool, like skill regression, for example. A lot of the time, when autistic people, like autistic adults, try to unmask after being masked for a long period of time, they lose some of their skills. Like, for example, you could um, like forget how to read properly or draw properly or speak properly. Like, it sucks. And there's just so much that goes into it. But anyways, yeah, that's basically what I was talking about in the video where I was doing my makeup. The speed paint is almost over now. Do you guys like the drawing? I think it's super cute. This is just a little bunny girl that this drawing reminds me of Megan Thee Stallion's music video, but I want to say I drew this before that music video came out, okay? I was not copying her. I just want to make that really clear. Um, but yeah, this is the drawing, so thank you for listening to me if you did. I do have an outro already filmed, so I'm gonna go transition to that right now.
Hi, it's later on. It is nighttime now. I wanted to come here, close the video, and also show you what I look like, because this was a get ready with me. I guess I'll start. I put on a necklace and earrings. This is the finished makeup. Pretty much just what I do every day. And then I'll show you the outfit as well. I'm sorry, it doesn't look as good as when I first put it on, but anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, finish this video. Guys, it's okay to be yourself, like, I promise. Like, that's basically the takeaway of this video. This is basically what I want everyone to understand by posting this video. This is the message that I wanted to put out into the world. If you don't take anything else away from this video, what I want you to take is, you are fine. Literally, you're fine just the way that you are. You do not have to change for anyone. I don't care if you're neurodivergent or neurotypical, or if you fall into some type of marginalized community, or if you were ever made in your life to feel like you need to change or that there's something wrong with you. There's not, okay? Nothing is wrong with you. I'm telling you this because I know, and you should listen to me, okay? Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Also, if you do decide that you want to embark on a journey of not masking anymore, I want you to know that I know it's going to be hard. There are going to be challenges and difficulties and pushback, but I just want you to know that you will not be on this journey alone. You'll have at least one other person being with you, and that person is me. And I just want to say, like, I see you, and you're doing really good. Like, you got this, okay? So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say today. So thank you for watching this video so much if you did, and thank you for watching all the way to the end if you did. That makes me really happy. Yeah, I have other videos if you want to watch them. I'll probably link it in the cards or in the description or something. I have other social media if you want to follow me. Yeah, So I guess that's all I wanted to say. Goodbye.